This is the second video in the series of changing the subject of the formula. In the last one, we looked at the most basic questions, which on a higher paper would be earlier on. Now we're going to have a look at the more complicated ones, which would be more towards the back of the paper, so definitely after that central stables. Okay, the difference between these ones and those ones is we're going to have more than one of the letter we're after. So let's start with a fairly basic one. X bracket A plus B is equal to A minus 1. And they've asked us to make A the subject. All right, you'll notice I have two A's. Remember, if you've got more than one letter in an expression, a formula or an equation, they're worth exactly the same amount. So that's the same A. We've just got to put them together. Right, the moment you see brackets, I'm hoping that your instinct's going to be to multiply out the brackets. X times A, AX, X times B, BX. Remember, we like things in alphabetical order. Okay, now if you were solving an equation and you had X's on both sides, what you would tend to do is you'd get them together. So that's what we're going to do here, the same kind of technique. So I'm going to put the A's on one side and put everything else on the other. Let's do the A's first. I'm going to get rid of this A. I've decided I want them on the left. It's not serious. You could do it either way around. So I'm going to take away this A, and whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other. So on the left, I've got AX plus BX minus A. Notice I can't simplify them. That has an X, that doesn't. And on this side, I've got a minus 1. Right, now the next step is to just leave everything with an A on the left, and everything else is going to go to the right. So I don't want this BX here. I'm going to take away BX from both sides. So on the left, I'm left with 8AX minus A. And on the left, I've got minus 1 minus BX. Okay, now we're going to use a little technique that they actually gave us a hint to up here. We can't simplify these. Hopefully you know that, because one's got an X and one doesn't. However, they both have an A. So we're going to take the A out as a common factor. In other words, we're going to factorize the left-hand side. So let's remove the A, and we are left with X minus 1. On the right-hand side, we have minus 1 minus BX. Nothing's changed. Now remember, we were after A on its own, so I want to get rid of this X minus 1. Well, something in a bracket means multiply, does it not? So the opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by X minus 1. When I divide this side by X minus 1, the X minus 1 vanishes. When I divide the other side by X minus 1, it goes to the bottom. So my full answer is A is equal to minus 1 minus BX over X minus 1. Okay, let's do another one of these. They're not the easiest thing, but this little trick of factorizing is brilliant. Right, let's do another one as I said. Y is equal to A over A minus B. Once again, I want A to be the subject. All right, slight problem here. We've got two A's. Not only that, we've got a pesky divide. So remember how to get rid of something if we're dividing. The opposite to divide is multiply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this bit here to both sides. So if I times y by A minus B, the most sensible way to write it is y bracket A minus B. Now I'm going to do the same to the other side. Apologies for the pen, I'm just going to change it over. If I times this side by A minus B, it just becomes A. The A minus B cancels. Now I've got a bracket. What do you do when you've got a bracket? We expand. So we get AY minus BY equals a. Remember, we're going to get all the a's to one side and everything else to the other. So let's put the a's on this side because we've only got one a here anyway. It would make our lives a little bit easier. So I'm going to minus ay. But remember, it doesn't matter. And if you really want your a on the left, you can. So this leaves me with minus by. And this is a minus ay. Once again, can't simplify it because that's got a y and that doesn't. What did we do last time? We factorized. So we're going to take out that a and we're left with 1 minus y. And on this side, we've got minus by. Now, how do you get rid of a 1 minus y here? Remember, this means times. We're not going to expand the bracket because we wanted a on its own. So we're going to divide by 1 minus y. So now I've got a left all by himself here. And this side, I've got minus by all over 1 minus y. And there we go. A is now the subject of the formula.